Today on Echo Productions, we help you set the tone for your film. So 2 weeks ago, we talked about how color grading affects the mood and tone of your film, and how story is the most important thing in filmmaking. And a big thing that you can do to help tell your story is set the tone. A poorly set tone can distract your audience and make them think something you don't want them to think, or assume something you don't want them to assume. But a well-set tone can help your audience see what you are seeing when you plan the scene. Here's an example. The clip you just saw looked pretty good, right? Nice slow motion, maybe a sad scene, like someone just died. But what if I told you this was supposed to be a chase scene, or that character just robbed a bank? That would be an example of a very poorly set tone. So let's take a look at what you can do to properly set the tone of your film or scene. The first thing most people notice is the slow motion. Not a very good way to shoot chase scenes. This brings us to our first point, frame rate. The frame rate you choose to shoot at has a large effect on the tone and look of your film. The shot I showed you at the beginning was shot at 60 FPS and gives a dreamlike quality to the scene. But in real life, things tend to look a lot more equal to 24 frames per second, more choppy and realistic. So let's change the frame rate we shoot at to that. Now the original shot was shot on a Steadicam, but a shooting handheld would have helped give a much more realistic, fast-paced, choppy action feel. But there's still a lot to do. Let's start with some practical things you can do. Location is a huge factor in setting the tone for your film. A poorly chosen location can leave your audience scratching their heads and wondering, why on earth did you choose to shoot a romance film in a prison or a comedy in a graveyard? Choosing your location is a very important part of pre-production. On large film productions, they have an entire crew of people whose entire job this is. But for indie filmmakers, we don't usually have this luxury, and we have fewer locations to choose from, and we usually can't pay for them. Even with that said though, we still need to be very careful with which locations we choose. Returning to my original shot, this was filmed at a local park, but let's move it to an alleyway, or in this case, behind a bunch of stores. Looks a lot more like a chase scene now, doesn't it? Audio is another large factor when setting the mood or tone of your film. Let's change out the sad, slow music for a much faster, epic chase music. Let's add some sirens in the background and some Foley of our actor running, and we have this. See how much difference audio makes? This is probably why you hear people say that audio is 60% of the film. Now it feels more like a chase scene. But that's all for today. Make sure to like and subscribe for more videos every Monday. Let us know if you have anything to add in the comment section down below. Click here to subscribe.